What is going on, Amazon sellers? Happy Tuesday. Hope that everyone is doing well. Welcome to the How to Sell on Amazon Live Q&A. I'm your host, Chris Grant. You may know me as Clear the Shelf on social media. And the entire job or the entire point of this is to answer your guys' questions for the next 30 minutes and bring you a tip that should help you in your Amazon business. So hope you guys are doing fantastic. We've already got some questions in here. I do need your help. If you have questions, drop them in the chat so I can get to them. I want to answer as many as I possibly can in the next 30 minutes. So Jerry, just registered for the Infinite Leads System webinar. That's awesome. I appreciate that. If you're interested in a webinar, we're going to be holding a webinar on January 23rd. It's going to be the biggest webinar I've ever done. I'm going to do two of them. I'm going to do one at 2 p.m. in the afternoon, one at 7 p.m. at night. And you're going to want to show up live because there will be a recording. However, that recording is going to have a very important piece redacted. It's going to be removed. It's not going to be available in the replay. And that's why we're going to do two. So if you're interested in registering, you can go down to the video description. Should be on Facebook, on YouTube. It is cleartheshelf.com/webinar and get registered. I promise it'll be worth your time. Should take about 90 minutes to get through everything. And it's going to be a good time. Then, of course, we'll answer your questions on the webinar as well. Make sure you go away with a new system in your pocket. All right. Jerry, I have an Amazon storefront stalker. They're copying each and every listing I have on my account. Is there any way to stop this? No, there really is not, because they're not doing anything illegal. It's kind of silly that they would replicate every single one of your listings. But that information is out there in the public, and they can use it to their advantage. So I'm not really sure of a way that you could get them to hop off, since you don't own any of the listings or anything like that. That is unfortunate. Very odd to be copying every single listing you've got on your account. Usually, if people are stalking storefronts, they're stalking several. Hey, Dennis, is it true that you can ship to FBA in a larger box than 25 inches if it's all one ASIN? So if the items in the box are larger than 25 inches, you can ship them into Amazon in a box that's larger than 25 inches. So that part is true. Excuse me. Now, the part about them having to all be the same ASIN, I cannot remember. I was looking this up before we hopped on live here, and unfortunately, I couldn't find it. Now, if I recall correctly, that's not the way that it was in the past. It's been a while since I've done my own shipments. They're all outsourced to a prep center now. But when we were doing retail arbitrage, we were shipping in oversized items that also had regular sized items in the boxes with them. Don't take my word on that. Let me do some research. Let me get back to you, Dennis. If you'll bring this question back tomorrow, I'll make sure to have an answer for you. Matthew, what is going on, man? Glad to have you here. Hey, Syed, doing well. Hope you're doing well also. William, hey, Chris, I sent 47 pounds to FBA in March. That was closed with 0 units received. Have opened multiple cases, including tracking, PO, POD, but do not get a response or help. Any suggestions? So I would suggest that if you've opened up multiple cases, go to Twitter and DM at AMZN Seller Help, or look up on Twitter Amazon Seller Help. Reach out to them, see what they can do. If they can't do anything for you, or it's not sufficient, then I would email the executive team at Amazon. It is still Jeff at Amazon.com. they do still track that email inbox, and you might be able to get someone there to take a look at it. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Juan. Happy Tuesday, fellas. Robert, just out of curiosity, you always refer to we. Do you sell with someone else or individually? I do have a business partner, and so I say we. I don't know why I say we. I'm the one who does the lives and stuff like that, but it's just a force of habit. I also kind of consider this a family business, so I say we quite a bit, but I do have a business partner. Chris, are you leery about going on a listing against Pattern? Yeah, Pattern, Recommerce, Fortress Brands, those are all sellers that I typically will walk away from. Syed, can we register for both slots in the webinar? You might have to use a different email address, but yeah, you should be able to register for both slots for the webinar. Absolutely. Org Walker, happy new year to you. So we've got a question from Instagram. Why is there a 100 minimum for ungating now? Well, that's a bit of a misnomer. Okay. So, and I see this information getting thrown around the Amazon space. There is several forms of ungating. Can you get ungated with Walmart, Target? Sometimes. Home Depot, Best Buy, all that kind of stuff. Sometimes. But the alternative to those is you can buy from Amazon and get ungated with an Amazon invoice, especially if you're using a Amazon business account. Okay, it makes it nice and easy. Now, on some of the ASINs that you go to get ungated on, it might say that you need 50 units if you're going to use an Amazon invoice. Some ASINs will say you need 100 units if you're going to use an Amazon invoice. So that 50 or 100 units is not for everything. It is just if you're going to use Amazon invoices. Now, why did they do this? I cannot say for sure. I've got a couple of guesses. Number one, my guess is that they were probably getting a fair amount of returns from Amazon sellers after they got ungated. And so maybe they increased the number to 50 or 100, depending on the brand, to try to mitigate returns. Because if you return 50 units that you buy from Amazon, chances are you're going to get your buyer account shut down. Excuse me. And maybe it just keeps people from trying to use Amazon invoices as their first line of getting ungated. That might be the other thing. Oh, sorry. Let's see here. Matthew, I was wondering what you think about any new softwares coming to Walmart sellers. Some tools for product sourcing, etc. I can see Walmart to Amazon flips or the other way around being crazy. Well, I mean, Walmart to Amazon, that already happens. That's just online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. There are softwares for that kind of stuff already. Tactical arbitrage would be the software for that if you don't want to go manually source. Now, the other way around, Walmart to Amazon, I've actually done videos on how to use tactical arbitrage to source from Amazon and look for products that you can sell on Walmart. They also have a new feature inside of there that does it automatically for you. Makes it very, very easy. You just have to set up some filters. Now, are there going to be other tools? Yes, absolutely. There are going to be other tools. I know of some that exist already. There are calculators out there mostly right now. From my understanding, the Walmart API is either non-existent or very difficult to work with. And so that's what's keeping it a little slow. Sorry, guys, 1 second here. My cat has learned to open up doors, and or my wife's cat. So I need to tell someone to shut the door. All right, there we go. We got it. David, is there an easy way to track new items in a storefront The only thing I've thought of is continually exporting to Excel and highlighting duplicates. So, David, this is a great question. Feels like a softball question, to be quite honest, because I am actually co-owner of one of the solutions for storefront stalking automatically. Okay. I'm going to load the page here. Bear with me just a moment. It's going to be a little slow since I've got StreamYard going, but I'm going to show you. Yeah. Let me let that load for just a moment. But I'm going to show you the answer. All right. The answer is Storefront Stalker Pro. Every 4 hours, we go in and we will gather the ASINs from any storefront that you want to stalk. And my podcast co host, Chris Rasick, for the last couple of Mondays, has been using Storefront Stalker Pro almost exclusively, doing sourcing videos on Mondays at 9 p.m. and showing everybody how it works and going through how he uses it in his own business. I think we might have a bug here. Yeah, we may have a bug. So I can't show you. It's not loading. I don't know whether it's because I've got StreamYard going. That seems to happen. But storefrontstalkerpro.com will do this for you automatically. Chris, are you using the profit analyzer in Vico? Not yet. I know it exists. I know it's out there. I just have not messed around with it yet. I know that they've said that there's going to be a firewall and Amazon can't get your data. Yeah, I'm still, I put on my conspiracy theory hat for a moment and it still feels a little weird. So I've got other tools that analyze profits for me, but I will check it out eventually. Anonymous Kicks. After seeing a lot of people dealing with Section 3s, I was wondering if using retail arbitrage receipts from places like Walmart, Marshalls, etc., are still sufficient to beat a Section 3. Yes, they are still sufficient. Section 3 can absolutely be handled, especially with a Walmart receipt, no problem. Marshalls, Ross, TJ Maxx, etc., you're going to need to go a little extra step and take a picture of the item next to the receipt to make sure you get the store SKU matching up. But yes, they can be used to beat Section 3s. And follow up to this. Or am I further ahead trying to go directly into wholesale brand direct instead of starting on OA and RA? So here's my whole thing about this brand direct. Now, is brand direct a good business model? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to kick the business model, and I'm not going to say that anyone, selling a course on brand direct or anything like that is a shyster, or a guru or any other derogatory term. Here's the thing, in my opinion, though. My opinion is if you're going to go directly to the brand and you've never sold on Amazon, you're just getting started. What kind of value are you going to be able to bring to the brand to help them out? And so my thought process is you probably need you need some time under your wings to learn the ins and outs of Amazon, and a great playground to do that is online arbitrage, retail arbitrage. It allows you to learn inbound shipping. It allows you to learn what's profitable, what's not. Allows you to learn the life cycle of products, and you can do it at a very inexpensive way. Now, are Section 3s taking everybody out? Section 3s are going to happen to just about everybody, it seems. Most, not all. Unfortunately, we've lost some good sellers to Section 3s, but most people can get their accounts back without any issues. All right. Just takes a little bit of time, but I am seeing people speed run through them in 3 and 4 days, beating what I thought was fast when I got through mine at 7 days. Rabia Farouk. Hey, Chris, I tried to enroll in FBA today, but my request has not been accepted. Please try again and answer the questions and say, Chris, let me in, or something like that. I'll make sure that you get in there. We're, no offense, but we try very hard to make sure that we don't get spammers into the group. And so there are a lot of folks who join from certain countries, and they, it'll say, hey, I work at Amazon.com. And that's typically a red flag that they're going to start messaging our members. And so we try to keep that down as much as we possibly can. But answer the questions again over at FBA Today. I'll make sure you get in there. Matthew, what should people do when they get a letter from Vors? I know they are common, but I'm still pretty unfamiliar with them. Matthew, my opinion is that 90% or more of those letters from Vors should probably be dropped in the trash, thrown in the fire, whatever you want to do with them. Use them as kindling, whatever it is. I looked at a couple of letters the other day, yesterday or the day before, from somebody who was getting letters from Vors, and they were garbage. I said to ignore them. You could have an attorney reply if you have an attorney, on retainer or something like that. But most of them are going to be garbage. If some of them, if it's a draft lawsuit and they're like, hey, stop selling, or we're filing this, I might take it a little bit more serious. Or, the ones that they actually pay to have you sign for, maybe I'm going to take that a little bit more serious. But most of them, again, don't come that way, and I toss them in the trash. Ryan, are you still using tactical arbitrage on a daily basis, or do you have it outsourced to your assistants, or are you strictly manual sourcing? I typically use tactical arbitrage. I would not say every day, because unfortunately I don't get to go sourcing every single day. But my VA team is mostly manual sourcing. I supplement with tactical arbitrage. And yeah, Matthew, yeah, I know you're going to hear mixed things about tactical arbitrage. Some people love it, some people hate it. There is a learning curve, and that is absolutely the case. All right. But in my opinion, tactical arbitrage is still the best tool for automation when it comes to sourcing. Hey, Chris, can I just add an email address and website to an invoice myself if it's not on the company invoice? So, yes, but in a very particular way. All right. Because it specifically says you're not supposed to alter an invoice. Now, what it does not say is, it does not say that you're not allowed to annotate invoices. All right. And so I'm dealing with an inauthentic claim that Amazon's being a little picky about and irritating me just a hair. But what I do is I go in and I annotate things. So I will highlight the supplier information, and then I write in big, bold red lettering that is, obviously has a shadow behind it, so that it is very obvious that it's an annotation and not an alteration. And I'll put in the supplier information, the address, the phone number, the email. I will then highlight tracking information. I add in the title that's on Amazon, as well as the ASIN and the quantity, and make sure that they can see everything very, very clearly. And if there's an email, if there is a website, etc., I will add that under the supplier information as well. And Chris says that he found $170, 5 ASINs, buying 5 each of projected profit last night in an hour of using Storefront Stalker Pro. That's fantastic. Hey, Klaus, that's all right, man. Glad to have you here. Jay Tyndall, trying to ungate a clothing brand using a TJ Maxx web order receipt. Branded category cleared, but the brand under clothing category keeps rejecting. Any tips? Man, I've never thought of using a TJ Maxx web order receipt, but if it worked for the clothing category, I would keep resubmitting. Yes, I have heard lately that people are having to submit more and more times. I heard someone said they got ungated after like 30 some submissions. So if it worked once, I would keep going with it. Is there anything special the sellers beating the Section 3s in a few days are doing? So, Matthew, I'm going to toot my own horn just a little bit. But Chris Rasick and I did a podcast on Section 3s. I then did a webinar on Section 3s. I don't have that webinar up on YouTube. I'm probably going to try to put out like a 20-minute video on beating Section 3s. I had the thumbnail created just the other day. I just haven't gone in and actually recorded the video. But they're just doing what we laid out in our Section 3 podcast. They're getting all their data ahead of time. They're putting everything together in a very organized fashion. They are making sure that they have all the answers to the questions that will likely be asked in their video interview. And then they're submitting the information in an organized manner. And that's how they're getting through very, very quickly. If you go watch that podcast we did on Section 3s, chances are you'll have enough information to be able to get through them very quickly if it happens to you. Jerry, I have over a dozen orders that are FBA pending, and they have been that way for over 30 days. Opened up cases on it and got bot responses on how pending sales work. Are you seeing this as well? I don't know what my oldest my oldest order is. I need to go in and take a look. I usually don't really pay attention. Sometimes they just get held up there. I know that, Jerry, I know you do some pretty solid numbers on Amazon. So honestly, I would imagine that 30 is probably not that many in comparison to your total number of orders. Now, does it hurt cash flow, and do you really want things sitting there that long? No. But again, I'm just not sure of any way to get those out of there, unfortunately. FBA Michaela got 2 Section 3. She fought the first one and won, but gave up after the second one. Yeah, I know that they can absolutely be demoralizing. But it's the name of the game, but Michaela is crushing it with flips. She's flipping houses instead of product. She's doing all right. Kloss the Runner. Chris, for wholesale, do you recommend to have a business address, or will I be okay with my residential address? You should be fine with a residential address. You could use your prep center and things like that. If you explain it, most people will understand. You won't have an issue. Syed decided to use IP Alert finally after yesterday. I want to know how many users are allowed in one license. One user per license, and then we do offer a discounted license for team members right inside the extension. Does tactical arbitrage work in Canada? Yes, absolutely, it does. Hey, Tony, good to see you, man. I appreciate that. That's very kind of you. Chris, speaking about software and nerdery, many of us who lost our brands have gotten a few high BSR listings back. So is there a way to scroll through hundreds of listings in a brand and see if there are more eligible ASINs? Tony, answer me this. Do you have Seller Amp, Rev Seller, or Tactical Arbitrage? Do you have any 3 of those pieces of software? I'll need to check on Seller Amp, but I know that in Rev Seller, I can check 500 ASINs at a time, and it'll give me all the data. I can, of course, use Tactical Arbitrage, and I could go through a list of, up to 50,000 ASINs. There's not really a way to do it within Keepa and check for whether or not you can sell in bulk. I would need to double check Seller Amp to see if they offer a feature where you can check ASINs in bulk. But those would be the different ways that I can think of to see if you're approved or not on particular ASINs. And if you need me to dive deeper into how I would do that, let me know and I'll be happy to. But also, congratulations for getting some of those back. That's great. Tony, I have an FBM offer that shows up on the listing and gets buy box, but does not show up in my inventory. Only the FBA offer does. I checked sure to make filters weren't on, etc. That one is weird. That one you may have to open a case for. That's very, very strange. They might need to do a reset of your back end. I've heard of them doing that before, but I'm not sure what may be going on there. That seems like some sort of screw up on their side. All right, Tony, you use Seller Amp, so I'm going to double check and see if I can do that inside of Seller Amp or not. I'm just not sure right off the top of my head, but I'll get back to you and let you know for sure. Malik, if I use a prep center, the address on the Amazon account will be my address. So the address on the invoice will be the prep center address. So how do I get ungated? The address on the invoice is not necessarily the address on the prep center. You may have the item shipped there, but you may also have your billing address on the invoice for the payment. If you're in the US, if you're outside the US, your billing address may be the prep center. In which case, I would, you make sure to have the address inside of Seller Central as well in your ship from address, and you need to explain that, and that should be all you need. Syed, we often find some products with currently not available on the Amazon page with 0 sellers, which recently went out of stock. Should we jump on such listings? If there is evidence that they have sold well, yes, I always like bringing products back in stock on Amazon. Absolutely. So we got a question here from Instagram. It's Milani, I believe. What documents do you bring to your CPA for tax preparation? It's my first year selling. I give them access to my QuickBooks and they handle it from there. So you're going to want to ask what your CPA will need based on what your bookkeeping is doing. They may want your 1099K from Amazon. They may want, whatever, if you're using QuickBooks, if you're using, I don't know what you're using to keep track. If you're using a spreadsheet, they may want your spreadsheet. But I would have a talk with them and ask them what is best for them. And they will tell you. They want to make their job as easy as possible. David, uploading supplemental docs for a section 3. I have order confirmation, shipping confirmation, delivery confirmation for all ASINs except one. I can't get delivery confirmation. Should I upload without or leave that ASIN off? Well, you don't want to leave that ASIN off if they're asking for it. You're going to want to upload it. They didn't give you any kind of tracking information or anything like that, where you could maybe go out to FedEx or DHL or UPS or any place like that and get that information. That's what I would try to do. If not, I would upload it without the delivery confirmation because you need to give them some documents. Vernon, what is Amazon's policy on a grocery item that has a clearly printed expiration date already on the product's box, package, etc.? Is an additional applied label necessary? The additional expiration date is not necessary as long as it is within Amazon terms, meaning the size is big enough. But typically, you can print off expiration labels right on the FNSKU label to fit within Amazon terms of service, and that's typically what we do. What's your FBA shipment strategy? Weekly, bi-monthly, or monthly? We ship in weekly. Our day with our prep center is Thursday in most cases, unless they're a little backed up. Okay. All right. I promised you guys a tip for today, and I've got one that I think is pretty solid. So I want to share it with you guys, and then I will get back to answering some questions. I can go over by maybe 10 or 15 minutes today. So I want to show you guys something here. This is a screwdriver set. All right. And at one point, this item was profitable. It is not profitable at the moment. But you're going to see here, this is $58.51. We're at 22 FBA sellers, 5 MFers on this listing. And if we scroll down here, we're going to see that when the number of offers is lower, this price tends to go up. All right. We get it around 88, 73, 72, 70, etc. If we go out over the course of a year, we kind of see this cycle happening more than once. All right. We can see where the price is nice and high and it's getting some sales. The number of sellers shoots up and then it comes down slowly. Fewer people restock this as the price really is not profitable. And then we get down here to the low and then it went back up and the price is starting to come back down. We see that roller coaster, if you will. If we go out even further, same kind of thing. All right. Profitable for quite some time. People find it and then they ruin it. All right. But no, the price erodes. The market does what the market does. If you understand economics 101, this is all very, very similar. However, that doesn't mean that we may never want to sell this product again. If we hopped on this listing right around here where the price comes up and maybe we've got 1 or 2 left over here and it's not profitable anymore and you're like, man, I'm going to have to liquidate this. It's too bad. I'm never going to get this back. That's not necessarily the case. And there's an easy way to keep track of this so you don't have to go in and check it manually all the time. All right. And you should be doing this for every product that you're on, in my opinion. But if you are on the Amazon page and you know that you can buy this product pretty easily, matter of fact, there's 2 places to get it right now. There's Lowe's at $44.98. Maybe I could get a discount gift card over here. Let's see if there are any. Nothing there. I know I can definitely get some cash back. There's also it's also available over here at Ace Hardware for $39.99. Now, there's going to be some shipping in there, most likely. I'd have to see if I can get free shipping or not to make this make sense. Okay. But let's just say I can get this for $39.99. Well, it's still not really going to be profitable. It's only got $1.88 on this. I'm not using any inbound shipping fees or anything like that. This is like it would be on a lead list where there's no fees in here, just Amazon fees. All right. So $1.88. Nobody's going to buy that. But if this goes back up to that $70 range, well, now we're at a 29% ROI. We get up to 72, where it has been before and sold. We're up at 33. Now, is it an absolute banger? No, not necessarily. But if I've got a little extra scratch or a little extra capital laying around, would I buy a couple of these and send them in? Yeah, I probably would. Okay. If it was up around 72. So we're going to use Keepa to track this. All right. We're going to hit track. And everyone thinks of Keepa as, hey, when the price drops, Keepa will let me know and I could do an Amazon to Amazon flip. But we can do this the other way around too. If I want to see the buy box at $72 or more, all I've got to do in here is go in, put in $72 in the buy box, and then I can click the or more or less, and I can turn this to or more. So now what's going to happen is if the buy box gets to 72 or 7201 or 7203, I'm now going to get an alert. And I can come in here when I get that alert and I can say, oh, okay, great. It's hit that $72 mark. Is it because the number of sellers has gone down? And if the fundamentals of this product now work in my favor, where maybe there are 3 or 4 or 5 sellers and the price is still $39.99 over at Ace, well, maybe I'm going to go pick up a few and send them in. I don't mind picking up a few bucks on an easy alert like this. All right. But there's a little bit more that you can do. Okay. After you've hit that track button in here, all right, 72 or more, make sure to hit start tracking. And you don't necessarily have to use buy box. You could do new if you want to. You could do new third party FBA. I typically just do the buy box, hit start tracking. But then there's another way to be able to make this profitable again. And that is by finding a better price. Now, let's just imagine we've scoured Google. We've already figured out that, hey, $39.99 is the best price that I can find from a legitimate supplier. I could get this for $19.99 over on AliExpress, but I know that's going to get me in a lot of trouble. All right. So $39.99 at Ace Hardware, but maybe Ace Hardware decides that they want to clearance this out. I'm never going to go look at this until I get that alert from Keepa. So what do I need to do here? Well, I need to know if this price ever drops. Okay. And I can do that with something like Visual Ping. Visual Ping is a website monitor. I've been using this thing for years. I've talked about it in the OA Challenge for years. And I put in the web address of that particular product, okay, into my Visual Ping monitor. I turned this over. I'm going to have it check every day. If there's a tiny change, at least a 1% change, I'm going to have this give me an alert. And I chose Element. And so I chose this buy box area or this price box area, okay, on Ace Hardware. And it's going to go in every day and it's going to check this area for any changes. So maybe we'll see if they add the word clearance or if they change the price to $29.99 or they even pop this up to $49.99 or whatever it is. I should get an email alert and I should know, hey, a change happened. I need to go in and double check that and see what goes on. And I can do that, all right, by setting this up. Takes me an extra 30 seconds per Visual Ping. Takes me an extra 30 seconds to set up my Keepa tracking. And now, if I sold this in the past, or if I'm sourcing it now and it doesn't fit my criteria now, but I can see historically that it does that roller coaster, I've not wasted the time. I have set myself up a future lead, okay, that will automatically come to me. And that is when you put this business on easy mode, okay? When you have leads coming at you automatically from different places, from alerts that you've set, that's when this gets simple. That's when this becomes, the 4-hour work week type of business. And you're not, grueling through 12-hour sourcing sessions. The problem is it takes a little bit extra work, the extra mile. Nobody goes the extra mile. Okay. And the other thing is that nobody wants to do that work up front. We're preloading those 12-hour sourcing days so that in a year, in 2 years, in 3 years, we've got hundreds or thousands of these set up. And now we're just getting alerts when prices go up, when things change on source websites, etc. Okay. All right. Take some time and go about setting some of these up for you. And let me finish answering your questions and to get you guys out of here. Can we get ungated with order confirmations? Typically, no. Typically, you actually need like an invoice or a receipt from wherever you're going to try to get ungated from. Do you use any auto buying scripts when trying to get a big hit item that goes out of stock fast? I have never used any auto checkouts or anything like that. I don't want to say that I'm a purist, okay? But maybe I am. Maybe I am a little bit of a purist. I kind of feel like, I don't know. I'm all about leveraging as many tools as possible, but auto checkouts feels like cheating a little bit. So I like to go in and I like to make sure to do that all myself. How would you recommend keeping those emails organized? I would be setting up filters inside of your Gmail as much as possible. That's the best way to do it. That add-in was called Visual Ping. Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Lounger. Yeah, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, would love to get, more likes, shares on this. If this is helpful, share the video with your friends, share it on social media. That is the biggest compliment I can receive. Hey, Sadiq, man, good to see you. Good to see you, man. Yeah. All right, guys, I am going to say this one more time. We are having a webinar January 23rd. It's going to be the biggest one of the year. I'm doing it 2 different times at 2 p.m. and 7 p.m. on January 23rd. You guys don't want to miss it. It is called the Infinite Lead System. All right. I will guarantee you'll walk away with a system where you never run out of ways to source ever again. All right. You get stuck and don't know where to start. This will solve it. You can't find any profitable products. This plus time will solve it. It's January 23rd, 2 p.m., 7 p.m. You're going to want to be there live. You can head to cleartheshelf.com/webinar. Get registered. I think we've got 500 seats available for each one of them. Would love to have you there. It's going to be incredible. I promise I'm going to bring my absolute A game to this webinar. All right, guys, that's it for today. We went a little over. Thank you so much for hanging out today. I will be back tomorrow at 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock tomorrow with Chris, and we do the news and Q&A show. Be there or be square. We'll see you guys tomorrow at 5.